Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another show of Dinner Guide. I am your host Chef Andy, and today we'll be making a very simple vegetarian dish. We're gonna be working with some spinach and some penne, so I'll just introduce you to the rest of what's gonna be going in the dish. So I have some raw cashew nuts, I've got some red chopped onion, I've got one beef cube, I've got some cooking cream, some oregano, some salt, some sesame seeds, some paprika powder and some black pepper. I also have some beautiful extra virgin olive oil, some local spinach and some penne pasta. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump into a quick commercial break. Grab your pens, grab your cookbooks, and when we come back, we're gonna go straight into the dish. See you in a little while. Hello everyone, welcome back. For those who just missed out on the beginning part of the show, we were just introducing some ingredients we'll be working with today. We're going to be making a very simple vegetarian dish with some pasta and some spinach. Without further ado, I'm just going to go into it. So first of all, I have some beautiful local spinach here. This has been washed, it's nice and clean. So, and on this side, I also have a pot of boiling water, which I'll show you what we're going to do with in a little while. So without further ado, I'm just going to get my pan hot. So a very simple dish. You can make this to order. Doesn't need any preparation beforehand. It's something that you make as you go. So I'm just going to start with my spinach and I'm just going to show you how to chop that. So all I do is I always lay my leaves right on the table like that. I'm just going to show you a nice quick way of getting them shredded. So remember, these have been cleaned, they have been stocked. Right, so very simple. Just what I do is I just lay them out lengthways and then I just roll them right through to the end like that. Then just with a nice sharp knife, I just go for it. So remember, you're not getting it too fine, you're just looking for very thin strips. So I would say it's just a very costly chopped way of chopping the spinach. Alright, so I'm just gonna work my way to the end like that. Alright, so very simple. We're just going to use a little bit of spinach for this. So in my hot pan, I'm just gonna go with a bit of olive oil. It's nice, generous drizzle in there. And then in there, we're going to be working with some red onion, some our beef cube, some salt, some pepper, some oregano, some cream, and now the nuts. So just gonna give that a nice swirl, get the oil, get your pan coated nicely, evenly right through. So all I'm going to do first is I'm gonna start with my nuts. So all we're going to do is we're just going to color them slightly and get them off the pan. So the reason why I'm starting with the nuts this time round is I want to infuse my oil with a bit of the cashew flavor. Just make sure it goes right through. Right, so we're just gonna brown those slightly on our pan there. Just gonna grab a plate. So very simple dish. For those who missed out, we're working on a vegetarian dish today. We're gonna be playing with some pasta, a couple of ingredients in front of me. Right, so as you can see, nice brown color there from the cashew nuts. Remember, we don't wanna cook them too much. You just wanna infuse your oil a little bit. And then we're gonna take them out. We're gonna reserve them for much later when we finish our dish. Right, so nice, beautiful golden colors there. So this just goes straight out of the pan. So all you're left with is a nice browned oil that went in very clear. So remember, this was just to infuse the oil. Right, so we're just gonna set those aside for later. And then in the pan, I'm just gonna go with some red onions, red chopped onions. Bring the temperature a little lower. So nice mix there, a bit of the oregano, a bit of the black pepper, just a small pinch, a bit of salt. Remember, this is the best way to season your spinach when you're sauteing it, because the flavors incorporate all together, and when you just go in with your spinach lastly, it's just going to get the balanced flavors out of all your seasonings. Okay, so that's a bit dry. We're just going to add a tiny bit of olive oil again. And then to that, I'm just going to go with my chopped local spinach. Right, so that's going on medium to low heat now. So I'm just gonna give that a nice quick fry. Get all those ingredients coated. Right, so while that is going, we're gonna be doing that for a nice quick 4 to 5 minutes in the pot that's been going to my extreme left. So this is just boiling water. A bit of olive oil in there. I'm just going to lastly add a bit of salt. So remember, this is just for cooking our pasta. So straight in there. Right, just gonna give that a nice quick mix. Right, so we're just gonna bring the temperature to high. Give that a nice quick mixture, and we're just gonna let that boil uncovered for about 6 to 7 minutes. In the meantime, I'm just gonna keep sauteing my spinach on the sides here. So get those flavors cooked in nicely. Right, and last but not least, I'm gonna go add some of my cream. So that's about 3 tablespoons of cream to about 1 cup of spinach. Nice, beautiful ratio. Then all I'm going to do is mix that together. Alright, so our spinach is nicely coated, nice and creamy. So we're now just going to turn off the heat here, and we're just gonna let that set on the side. Just gonna give that a nice quick mixture. Right, so just to make sure that doesn't keep cooking, we're just going to take it out of the pan and into a bowl. Remember, you want to reserve this to coat your pasta for later. Right, so our pasta is nicely boiling on the other side here. So while this cooks, we're just going to jump into a short commercial break. We're just going to let that cook, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to finish off your pasta with your cooked spinach that we've just done now with a bit of cream and some seasoning. So we're just going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're just going to go to the last bit of the dish, which is basically the incorporating, the finishing, and the plating. See you in a short while. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We took a small commercial break, and before that we were doing some pasta on the side. We had some water going. We threw our penne in there. It's now been going for about 6 to 7 minutes. It's just about to come out. So now, just to finish off the dish, for those who missed out on the introductory bit, we're working with some spinach and some penne today. A nice, beautiful, done-to-order pasta dish that you can have as a light dinner or even carry as a snack to work. So we're now just going to turn off the heat here. Then we're just going to give our pasta a nice mix. As you can see, it's nice and chunky, very cooked through, still al dente. So we're just going to take this off the heat And I'm quickly going to show you how to always work with your pasta. So first of all, we're going to start by draining off the excess water that's in our pot. So I'm just going to hold the lid right on top. So all I do is I just slide the lid on and then I pull it back and leave a small little space on the edges there. And then just secure the lid with your fingertips. And all you do is tilt and get all that excess water out. Simple stuff. Right. And then for the second bit is just to cool off your pasta. So that's going to go into our water bath that's on the sides here. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna let the pasta sit in there for about 2 to 3 seconds. I always insist keep lifting your sieve just to make sure that your pasta is fully coated with the cold water. So remember, in the bowl underneath is just some cold water. You can throw some ice cubes in as well if you have water that you're trying to cool a little faster. So this process is basically to cool off the pasta. This is to make sure it doesn't continue cooking. It's gonna get some heat on here, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off the dish. So this is nice and cool. So all I'm going to do is get rid of that bowl. And always have an extra bowl on the side to just trap the excess water still coming right through your pasta. Give your pasta a bit of time to drain as well. And all I like to do is once all the excess water is gone, I grab a bit of oil, just right on top like that, and I give it a nice quick shake. That's just to make sure your pasta doesn't stick together. Right, and you just leave that on the side. So in a hot pan, just going to finish our pasta dish off. So all I do is drizzle a tiny bit of olive oil, and all I'm going to do is add half a cube of cooking cube. Beef or chicken, any is allowed. And all I'm going to do is use the back of my wooden spoon to break it apart. So remember, this is just to enrich the flavor. So this is just the finishing bit. You can also use fresh stock if you have some instead of a cube, right? So I have in the bowl here a bit of milk, which I'm just going to add to the pot there. And then I have some nuts that we grilled earlier, as you saw earlier in the show. So those are all gonna go in there. All right, and last but not least, our spinach. Right, give that a nice quick mixture. So remember, this is already cooked, so you don't want to cook it again. Right, so then I add my cooked pasta in there. So all I'm going to do, you can use a spoon, but I just like to toss it with my pan like that. So give it nice, quick tosses back and forth. Remember, all you want to do is have your pasta nicely coated. Just going to break that nice chunk of spinach there. Help it to coat. And then just gonna give it 2-3 more tosses like that, and that is done. So turn off my heat, get rid of all this excess plating that's on my side here. So just to finish it off, I have some sesame seeds, some Parmesan cheese, and some paprika powder. So I'm just going to show you how to plate this. You can use a regular spoon, but I like to use this one in particular because it helps me hold my pasta from the bowl, from the pan to the bowl. Right, so easy peasy. It's going to go with most of the pasta that's not coated. Get that on the bottom first. All right, nice generous portion. So remember, 1 cup of pasta is enough for 1 portion, as recommended by your dietitian. But if you have people who are eating a little more, please feel free to prepare a little more than we did ourselves. Right, so a bit of that spinach on the top. All right, ladies and gentlemen, easy, simple, quick, handy, fresh, A lot of things you could say about a pasta dish, but I will always insist pasta is among the healthiest, freshest things that you can have as a substitute for your meals, the lunch or dinner. It's quick to make to order, it's quick to make from scratch. So just to finish that off, I have just a bit of paprika powder on top there, a bit of the sesame seeds. Remember, this is just for garnish. If you don't have these, you can actually just avoid. But I find that sesame seeds give it a nice nutty flavor. And last but not least, a bit of Parmesan cheese. Nice generous drizzle on the top there. And last but not least, a bit of olive oil. So light drizzle on the top like that. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, a very simple pasta dish made from spinach, a bit of Parmesan cheese to finish it off. We have some spinach in there, some cream, some cashew nuts. Very easy dish to make at home. Remember, if you're allergic to nuts, avoid the nuts. The dish, the recipe is very good as it is. If you're allergic to nuts or anything in relation to that, avoid the cashew nuts. You can just cook it without. If you're allergic to cream or you're lactose intolerant, you can avoid the cream, you can avoid the milk. You can alternatively substitute that with some tomato homemade sauce. And if you're very vegetarian, I would say this would be a very, very good dish for you. So from here, I've been your host, Chef Andy. You have been tuned in to Dinner Guide. You've been watching BrandPlus TV. So from the studios, it's been a pleasure hosting the show today. It's been a pleasure making the dish with you today. I hope it's something you want to try at home. Maybe you can try it even tonight. From my end and from the studio at large, it's been a pleasure. Have a lovely evening.